So continuing on my discussion with Lamanite DNA and DNA in the Book of Mormon, Stephens and Meldrum, who are the children of Lehi, they say that most members of the church, this is on page 16, they say that most members of the church realize that the peoples mentioned in the Book of Mormon were diverse. And in the Book of Mormon, we have specific references made to 3 immigrations. One, an early group of Semites dispersed from the Tower of Babel. This is the Jaredites. The second group is a party of Israelites, principally from the tribe of Judah, the people of Zarahemla, sometimes called the Mulekites. And the third, almost contemporary with the Mulekites, consisting of Lehi's and Ishmael's families, representing the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. So although the Book of Mormon deals primarily with Nephites and Lamanites, we know that, and they are both descended from Lehi, his posterity was actually much more complex than that. During the centuries before Christ, now this is an interesting point that they bring up. During the centuries before Christ, the Nephites had been divided into 4 groups. The Nephites, the Jacobites, the Josephites, and the Zoramites. The Lamanites, in turn, had been divided into 3 such lineages: the Lamanites, the Lemuelites, and the Ishmaelites. These lineages apparently maintained a degree of recognition throughout the record, although Jacob establishes very early on a convention. And the convention, he states, can you see this? Boy, I don't know if you can see me or not. I'm right there. Well, kind of. Yeah, well, that's probably a good thing. I'm trying to show you the lake, too, but maybe I better stand in the sun so you can see me. The lineages apparently maintained a degree of recognition throughout the record, although Jacob established early on the convention of Nephites and Lamanites, and he referred to the Lamanites generically as all those who collectively fought against the people who were friendly to Nephi. Note this distinction. This is important. Not merely the descendants of Nephi, but the people friendly to Nephi. This is Jacob 1, 13 and 14. Now this is very important to realize. The Book of Mormon, in its subtle way, recorded only as an eyewitness to the history of how things were going down, of how it occurred, it makes the distinction between Nephites and the people who were friendly to Nephi. That's very important. There were others here. We don't know if they were Israelite DNA or not. We don't even know how to distinguish that yet. So that's important. For nearly, and then this other point is really interesting, what they say here. For nearly 200 years after the coming of Christ to the Americas, there were no Lamanites. Did you understand that? There were no Lamanites. Not any manner of ites. There were no any ites at all. But they were in one the children of Christ and heirs to the kingdom of God. That's how 4 Nephi 1:17 puts it. Soon, however, a party of the people fell away and took upon themselves the name Lamanites. We don't know who these people were. They called themselves Lamanites. Therefore, there began to be Lamanites again in the land. 4 Nephi 1 and 20. So clearly, Lamanite in this case refers to the anti-Christian faction as perceived by those who were keeping the record of the Book of Mormon. This has nothing to do with genetics. This has nothing to do with DNA. The Book of Mormon itself is showing there is far more to this issue of populations than our critics are assuming. This is crucial to understand. This argument that DNA refutes the historicity of the Book of Mormon, that argument is simply false.